Right. We are live with Bryan Fleming. I'm Mike Piet. And basically, we've been doing weekly calls or bi-weekly calls for 4 years. We met at a internet marketing seminar or mastermind, Jeff Johnson's, about getting more traffic using YouTube. And to this day, we're still working on growing our businesses profitably. I mainly make money from a service business, and Bryan makes money from a software business. So we're going to talk about both of those and overall how to accelerate profitable growth consistently in your business. Sound right?
Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds good.
Awesome. What do you have to say about that intro?
I think the intro's fair. I'll say me and you met in 2012, and I was at that seminar, and you got paired up with me to help me with my business. And then we started talking outside of that, and it wasn't too much longer later. We started doing weekly mastermind calls, and then I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, we were talking on these calls, and we thought, you know, people are doing these internet business things could learn a lot from what we're talking about because we're in the trenches and we're just doing it, you know? So since we're doing the calls anyway, we thought, what the hell, let's record them. Let's make a podcast show, or I'm not even really sure where this is going to go, but let's just get this stuff out there because well, hell, I'm out there building a business, and I would love to watch what we're doing. Anyone out there doing this is going to learn a lot because we get punched in the face constantly and have to pick each other up and get through it. So myself, I started on the internet in 1997. When I started, I wrote some software, and to put it in context back then, my very first thing I ever did is I sent out a spam message, a bulk email. And on that spam message, it was like an email, if you could imagine this, how ridiculous it is. And on the bottom of the email, it said, order my software. You can call a phone number. And I literally typed credit card number with a bunch of underlines, expiration date, underline, slash. People literally wrote out their credit card numbers and mailed it to me to buy the software. It's crazy to think of in this day, but that's where it's at when I got started. So it started going okay. It was like a couple $1,000 a month, which was friggin' amazing that people would send me money in the mailbox and buy this software app I made, which was a bulk email software. Best friend in high school said, that's a good idea. Let's get into business together. He was pretty good at sales. A few years later, we grew that thing to like $100,000 a month. And I remember 1 month in particular, we made like 98 grand and our expenses were like 99 grand. And I just couldn't believe this business I started in my bedroom now had $100,000 a month in expenses. Long story short, it wasn't too much later before that thing just went down in flames. The partnership didn't work out, and it was pretty gut-wrenching. There were weeks where I would have to put $5,000 on a credit card because I didn't have money, and people wanted to get paid, and they didn't do anything all week because business was slow. It was just a mess. So one of our top resellers, he approached me a year or two later and said, hey, I got this idea for this software app since I'm a software developer. And I built that with them. I did it the right way this time. We both worked out of our houses. That one did pretty good. It didn't do anywhere near 100 grand a month, but that was going pretty good. And that partnership, he lost interest in it. And I just bought him out a few months before I attended your seminar. So the business at that point was pretty well dilapidated from neglect. It was just kind of coasting along. And then you and I met, and that's where we started working together. From that time, I went on quite a journey. I put the PC Tattletale business on autopilot, which it could do very well. I went out and tried a lot of other businesses and started a lot of other things up. And me and you, Mike, we had a lot of calls and talked to each other. And long story short, all those other projects, about 2 years ago, I decided to throw those aside and go back to the one that always seemed to be working, PC Tattletale. So that's what I'm focused in now. If you see stuff on me online and it doesn't look active, that's why I put it all aside. I was even hesitant to doing a podcast like this because I didn't want it to distract from PC Tattletale. So that's my main focus now. I'll turn it back to you. You can tell your story, and then we can flip it back to me, and I'll give you guys some real life stuff about what it's like running a SaaS business.
True. That's a great story. A lot of good points. And yeah, I can relate to having a lot of different businesses that are inactive. Just start one, you know, and then, yeah, you move to the next one. And then, yeah, you find one, obviously, that's making money. I heard a great quote from Shark Tank from Mark Cuban. He says, follow the green, not the dream. So, you know, some of these ideas, they sound so good and all this stuff, but it's like, yeah, what's making you the money? Because, yeah, we got to be profitable and, you know, hit our goals and obviously pay our bills, but far beyond that. But then, yeah, but then we can have like side passions too or whatever. But yeah, still making the green. So I like that. And then, yeah, doing a call like this, just taking action and, yeah, like really just not thinking it out. Since we know so much about this stuff, we can just, you know, straight stream of consciousness and really just share. And yeah, anyone listening can get a lot of value from it. Yeah, I have I have all over story as well. I used to be a radiographer, so that's someone that takes x-rays. And then I heard about like Tony Robbins, self-development. And then I heard about like Jeff Walker, Frank Kern, got into the whole like internet marketing thing. So I created a product, which was a book about how to become a radiographer. And then, you know, then I learned to write sales copy to sell the book. And then I learned, wow, I actually have to, you know, I just thought I'd put it up there and people would just come and buy it. I actually had to sell it, good copy, but then I actually had to get people to the website. So traffic, and then do that profitable, you know. My first experience with AdWords, you know, just spending that few $100 and getting like nothing in return, you know, and then trying like article submissions and all this crazy SEO stuff at the time. And then actually I sold that business for $1,000 because it just was too small of a niche, wasn't really scalable. So then I created a business about how to write a book, since that's the next thing I could teach, since I struggled with writing that book. And then I had notes and experience on it and results in it. So then I taught that under a pen name, Alex Albright. I was like all the rage back in the day to have like pen names. So you had one too, didn't you have a pen name?
Yeah, Scott Henson. Yeah, use it all the time to keep myself anonymous. And then I went to Blog Media Expo and ran into, God, I wish I could remember their name, but they're a pretty prominent marketer, and told him what I was doing. And he just looked at me. He's like, you're a fucking idiot. Use your real name. And I just ever since then said, okay, I dumped it like a bad habit, man.
Yeah, there's pros and cons of it. Yeah, but I don't think it's in today's age, yeah, authenticity, just being, transparent, all that stuff is way better. Not that we were doing it. We were doing it for like marketing reasons. Like Alex Albright was for like alliteration and things like that. It was pretty funny. But yeah, then I sold that business for $5,000 just because I wanted to teach more on like information products and like business stuff. And everyone that I was attracting seemed to like want to write like their character, their story, all that stuff. And it really wasn't an exact fit. So I sold that business. And then I had all this, just knowledge on internet marketing and copyright and all that stuff. So eventually I started doing it for other businesses as well, mainly SEO. So ranking certain keywords in Google.com for businesses, using PBNs, private blog networks, and creating a whole system out of that. Because then I got the clients, and which we're going to get into is, I thought I made it, I thought I reached success. I was making $10,000 a month, which was huge for me, and even living like the dream, so to speak, the internet marketing dream, like working from home. But then all the client work was just really overwhelming, just cycling through all these clients, got to do this for this guy, then this, and then this, and then cycle back and do all this stuff, and then try to hire staff for it. And then that gets even more confusing and harder and overwhelming, because then you're trying to, teach them how to do it. They're doing it all wrong, and then still doing all your stuff. It got really overwhelming. So I had to build a system for it. So like procedures, checklists, and then, staff and training and accountability and checks and all that kind of stuff built into a system. And now I really am not needed in that business whatsoever, which is great. So that was really helpful. We can talk more about that, systematizing your business. But yeah, the pros of a client business, yeah, you can get the money right away because people will pay you even before results. They'll invest to get those results. And then, yeah, then there's the software, which, then you can sell it, or like an information product, I think kind of falls in that category too, of like a product like that then you can just sell and not have to, like, each time someone buys, like, do so much stuff. It's basically automated and pretty simple.
Yeah, I'd say information products are kind of a hybrid between a service and software. I hired a business coach at one point and paid him $150 an hour, and he told me to stop making software because it's so incredibly takes so much time to make it, and if you get it wrong, you literally wasted 6 months or a year of your life. And he said, go make information products because they're just so much faster to spin up. You can test markets faster. Now, Mike, you've seen some pretty amazing stuff working for Jeff Johnson. You saw some crazy launches, and you got to see that firsthand, like real six-figure launches. You saw the money come in the door, and you kind of have that in your back pocket of seeing that proof. And I think someone like myself, we're on the receiving end of it. I would get all the emails from Jeff Johnson and all the promotion, but I never saw the sales come in. He said he made all this money, but you were on the other end seeing all hell break loose, to see him hit send on his list of 500,000 people and make $100,000 in an hour. Maybe you could talk about some of the stuff you remember from that.
Yeah, I remember there's a lot of crazy stories. One of them is, like doing affiliate launches. And so he would get paid like 50% commissions on these like $2,000 products, which was great. But then he would like win first place and he would literally get a check for $100,000. Or he got like a Mercedes-Benz, like $187,000 car. And like, yeah, some of that crazy stuff. That was
and that was just purely an email list, right?
Email list, yep. And then he was, in a group with like affiliate marketers. Well, not really. Yeah, they were affiliate marketers, but had their own products. And yeah, they would all promote each other. And yeah, so affiliates and connections is huge, especially for like the big people, the top people like Evan Pagan, Frank Kern, Brendan Bouchard, Jeff Walker, etc.
We talked a lot about that and how it's difficult to repeat. We both decided not to go in that industry. We don't want to sell get-rich-quick products. I think when you watch our shows, you're going to realize what a pipe dream that friggin' is and how it really doesn't work that way like these guys say. If you're in a group and everybody's got a big list and can do affiliate launches for you, boy, that makes life easy. But I would say, I don't know, 99 out of 100 people are just not in that boat. They're just not that well connected. And you brought it up, Mike. You said, the only way to get that connected is to also have a giant email list, or these guys they're not going to do emails for you if you can't return the favor. They're not going to burn their list on your product. Nobody knows you. So pretty interesting stuff. So on the one end, you have a service business. We know of people who've had successful product businesses. You're in the product business a little bit too.
Yes.
Both. You do products. Training products. Yep. I did a Facebook ads product that it did okay. It was a lot of work to get people to buy it, and I think I was competing with a lot of free YouTube videos, so it was hard to sell. Ultimately, for me, my super internet skill, if I was to say, is that I'm a full stack product guy. I have a unique skill that I could see something and go, well, that would be a cool app to build. And I can literally do everything to build it without hiring people or paying money. It makes little sense for me to go write an ebook because anyone can do that. There's a lot less people that can go develop software. So that was a big decision in me saying, I'm not gonna listen to this business coach I paid a bunch of money to and go down this info product route that frankly anybody could do. In my first couple info products, I literally read a few blog posts and just repurposed the blog post and made an info product out of it. Whereas software, it may take you 6 months to a year to really write a good app. So just different ways of going about it. I think knowing your strengths is super important. We're all different. And me and you, Mike, are way different in our skill sets. Maybe we'll switch gears a little bit and talk about the pros and cons of the business models. I'll start with the SaaS business model because I think a lot of people are attracted to the sexiness of SaaS businesses for the obvious reason, right? You write the code once and sell it over and over and over and over, and it scales beautifully. So let's talk about a couple of the pluses of SaaS, and then I'll give you a couple of the negatives of SaaS that people don't talk about too much because there are negatives. The plus, yes, once you write a piece of software and it's working and people are using it, I believe it is the best business on the planet. Why? My phone pops off at 3 in the morning. I made $100 on PayPal. Right. Literally, just money getting sent to you. If the software is working good, you really don't have to do much. The money just flows in. It's where you want to be, no doubt about that. That's the good side of it. The bad side of it, it's either expensive because you have to hire developers and things break and go bad, or you're like me and you are a developer, which means you need a pretty wide skill set. You know, I have to do everything from code signing with code signing certificates to SSL to building shopping carts. I mean, the skills on it are friggin' deep and endless, and it takes a long time to build that stuff up. That's one downside. Another downside is software may work really well for you, and you test it on all these phones and things like that, and then you give it to customers, and it works for 5 customers, but 4 have trouble, and you work with them, you just can't get the software fixed, and you got to give them their fucking money back, and that sucks. That part of the business sucks. The other part of SaaS businesses that sucks is they're typically, they don't grow very fast. You're always trying to find this product market fit. You know, one great thing about an info product is I can kind of write out what would people want to buy. Well, they would want to lose weight and they would this, and then I can kind of craft info product around my sales message and like sell them whatever they want, right? Right. But software is a lot more tricky. It's got to work. They got to like it. It's got to deliver on what you think they want, which may not be what they want at all. So I have found over the years that with software, that product market fits hard. You can, like I said earlier, another downside is, especially if you're a developer, it's a big negative. The fact that you can just start writing code and you're not forced to have to pay somebody. The tendency is, hey, I got a cool idea for a Bitcoin app. I'm going to run out and build that thing. And you just take off and go to it, and you don't look up for 6 months. And then you put the thing out there and nobody wants it, and you wasted a lot of friggin' time. So that's another downside to it too. So I think getting the product market fit is tricky, and you have to have a lot of cash to pay developers, or be a developer, or just be willing to wait a long time for that SaaS money to show up, because these things typically don't grow fast. The best example I've heard of it is it's like a flywheel. You know, if you think of a big heavy flywheel, you got to pull on that thing really hard to get it going. But once it starts spinning, it kind of has momentum, and it just kind of goes. And then you kind of feed it a little bit. And that's a real good analogy to a SaaS business. So that's been my experience with it. I've been at it a long time. They definitely have their ups and downs. PC Tattletale at this point, I have a full-time job. I'm really happy with that. And it's a lifestyle business. It adds extra money to the bank account every month. I don't need to rely on it as a full-time income, which takes a lot of stress away. And anyone getting into this, I would highly recommend doing your business on night and weekends. Keep that full-time job because you just can't lean on your business to make you 5, 10, 20 grand a month when it's brand new. It's not realistic. One thing me and Mike have talked about for a while now, and I think we're going to use that theory with these videos we're doing, is plan on 1,000 days for your SaaS business, from start to having something of significance. 1,000 days sounds realistic. That way, when you get one of these emails from a marketer that says you can build an iPhone app and get rich within 3 months, and they give you 5 examples of people that did it, no, maybe that happened, but that's super rare. For you and I and most people, plan on 1,000 days before it's making any real money. So, Mike, you're in the service business. Maybe you want to talk about service business and some of the products, businesses you've done, what you like about them, what you don't like about them. I'm going to add one last thing too. I've painstakingly set my business up to not have employees, and I'll talk a little bit later before we wrap up the call. That really has come back to save me. Nothing sucks worse than, like I said, having to use a credit card to pay employees, or just be accountable to them for a paycheck. You know, it's a lot of responsibility. I know you have employees, so why don't you go talk a little bit about service businesses, what you like, don't like, and info products.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I want to speak to like we always do those online, you know, how I made dollars or whatever. And, you know, this one weird trick or something. And like what I've learned from like good marketers is they don't lie, but like they find a way to like position it. You know, everything is like crafted, or it's going to lie, but it's like true, but it's like in a way.
It's like half true, right?
Yeah, it's like exactly.
Like the guy, he did make an iPhone app, and he did make $100,000 in 3 months. That's true. They didn't tell you he had an email list of 500,000 people and spent 10 years building up an audience.
Yes, there you go. The 10 years before all that, but then it happened something in 3 months, and then now I'm going to share what I did in that 3 months. You know, really, it's a lot of other stuff too. So yeah, that's interesting. I got to know that when looking at the ads. Do I have an echo at all in my audio or no?
Not just a little bit. I think it's fine.
Okay. Okay, sweet. Okay, yeah. So service business, obviously the pros are you can charge right away. You can get started literally within, you know, hours. You could go find someone on Facebook. You could put up, you know, Google ad, go door to door, anything, and just, you know, pitch your service, whatever it's digital marketing or whatever it is. And you can start taking clients instantly. You don't need a, you know, to, like you were saying, the 6 months or a year to create this software that's going to work so well and fit perfectly for them, or this info product that's well designed and all organized and all, you know, put out there and gets results and, you know, all that stuff. Like literally you can just start right away. You can even get the client and figure out, you know, how to get results. I see that and sometimes in the Facebook group too. So yeah, the clients can be really, really fast to ramp it up. Then the challenge is, so you get your first client and you start, you know, then you basically, in the least in those first like week or a few days, especially if you're new, it's more, but then you have to be working your time, you know, building this, you know, if it's for a digital marketer, building their business, you know, so whatever you're hired for, a sales letter or SEO, then you put all your efforts into that mainly. And then maybe you have, you know, a few hours a day each time to keep working on the business, so to speak, and working on those, like getting more clients. So then you know, keep doing that, and then you get another one, and then, you know, 3 to 5 or even like 10. And now, you know, it's all these certain things that they're emailing you every day. There's all these, you know, with each campaign, you think it's so like this, and this. There's always like different stuff going on. So it really is a lot to handle. It's a huge workload. I mean, growing one business is hard, but then growing multiple businesses or doing it, you know, for others can be really tough. And then, yeah, then you have to outsource and hire for that. Yeah, I have staff. I have 4 full-time team members. So my wife works from home, you know, Sarah works full-time as well. And then Mihai and his wife in Romania, and then one guy named Mitz in Pakistan as well. And then we use like certain services and outsourcers from time to time basis. But those are the full-time 40 hours a week people. And yeah, it's really good to have that kind of support group, take it off your shoulders. But then, you know, you give it to them, and, you know, obviously in your mind, you think, okay, I'm going to give this to them. And then like, so I have 2 tasks. I give them task A, and then I go work on task B. And then, but when you come back to task A, it's just like not done correctly at all. It's even wrong. And then like, you know, then the client can see it, or you think the client will see it, or will mess something up. So you're like, then you get mad at them. And then like, you're like, is this even helping? I mean, would it be faster if I just did it? You know? So you fall into that, and I still think that to this day, no offense to my team, but sometimes I'm just like, because I have systematized it a lot, but it's still like, we're still so new that we're still like obviously testing all these new things, and new stuff comes up, you know, so it's a dynamic environment. So so far, like none of that. I mean, the system did help like a ton. Like I wanted to definitely quit. Yeah, like I said, like I was making 10,000 a month, thought I made it, but then I was just so overwhelmed a few short months later, you know, once the enthusiasm and then it wore off and like dealing with all these different businesses. So definitely have to have a team. And then, yeah, you have to train correctly, still have that system in place. And then, yeah, like we do daily updates. So that keeps things really organized and everyone accountable. And yeah, it is a lot of pressure too, then, you know, to make these, you know, make sure you can pay for their income each month. And yeah, there's a lot of challenges with it. And yeah, a lot of pros too. I mean, if you think about anything that's really big that ever happened, like let's just say a spaceship launching off, there's like hundreds of people all, you know, with the computers and all the different coding to make that fly into space. So collaboration is key. And, you know, nothing really great came from just one person alone. So yeah, then it's like working with the team. I think a lot of business owners sometimes they're really, you know, creative. They got these ideas, can take action, but they're really horrible with people and will like yell at them. I mean, I'm guilty probably of this stuff at sometimes, you know, or just like not communicate the task right, et cetera, et cetera. And so yeah, it can seem more of a hassle, but yeah. So hiring the right people with the right traits is key. And yeah, I mean, we could get into tons of all that stuff, you know. I don't know where you want to take it.
Well, I'm kind of looking at the clock and we're coming up. We want to keep these guys around a half hour and we're getting there. I thought we'd have more time. I'll make it real quick and then we'll kind of wrap this call up. We're going to do these every week, so we'll be back next week. So to give you a little context of where I'm at with PC Tattletale now is around 2 years ago. So let's go back to our 1,000-day theory. I am 2 years into that. I'm about 700 days in, and this was not a business that was at zero. It was at about 1,500 a month. It was kind of plodding along. It had been around for years, just kind of neglected and sitting out there. And I remember coming over to Mike's house and talking with him and Sarah, and they said the same thing my wife said. Anyone, I don't mean to belittle it, anyone can make product courses. Very few people can make software. So if you have a choice, you should choose software because it's just harder to do and you're going to have less competition. So 2 years ago, that's what I've been focusing every friggin' single day on, is growing this PC Tattletale business. Now, I got it to about 8,000, 9,000-ish a month in addition to my job. So if you're still working a job, add 8 or 9 grand to your paycheck every single month, it can do an awful lot for your lifestyle. It can do an awful lot for your lifestyle. And speaking of that, you know, I just took the family to Florida last week.
Right.
It was the first vacation I ever went on in my life where I didn't care where we ate. We just ate. I didn't look at the menu at what it cost. We just paid for it. The kids wanted beach toys. We just went there and bought it. It was the first vacation in my life I ever took where I really didn't care very much about what we spent. And I say that because it's 2 years of hard work, and PC Tattletale completely paid for that entire vacation. Okay. So that's the kind of benefit you get for all the hard work you're doing and all the punches in the face you're taking and having to get back up. Now, what happened last month is you think of a SaaS business, right? What's the beautiful part of a SaaS business? Everybody automatically gets rebilled every month. That's what makes the magic, right? Well, yes. My credit card processor just shut me down. Wouldn't let me accept Visa, MasterCard anymore. The problem is all my customers, I don't have their credit card number. This credit card processor has them. It has all their subscription information. So my business literally went from $8,000 or $9,000 a month down to almost zero, like boom. And that's just been gut-wrenching. I've been dealing with this for about 3 weeks now, and it's completely sucked. Thank God I have PayPal still, and people can still process credit cards. So to make matters worse, for whatever reason, I don't know if I got put on a list. I don't know what the hell's going on. I have applied to a half dozen other payment providers, and I'm getting declined left and right, and I'm really struggling to be able to process credit cards now. In the meantime, I've hooked up Amazon payments, And I think on our last call, Mike, before the trip, to give you guys some context here, because it goes both ways. Right before our trip, I'm going to leave Thursday. Wednesday night, Square approves me to take credit cards. So I stay up, right? We talked about this on our call. After our call that Wednesday 2 weeks ago, I was going to stay up no matter how late it took and do the programming, the integration to accept credit cards through Square. And I did it. I didn't get much sleep that night, but it friggin' worked. And we went on vacation, and customers were putting their credit card in, Square's taking the money. Life's good. Interestingly enough, the people on my site have three choices. They can pay with Amazon, they can pay with PayPal, or they can pay with a credit card. By default, it's selected to Amazon. Overwhelmingly, people choose the credit card, which seems really counterintuitive, that you would just clicking a button seems a lot easier than pulling out a credit card and typing it in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hanging out on the beach, having a good time, trying not to think about my business. Tech support app pops off, and I usually answer it to people right away. It only takes a minute. It's not a big deal, even if you're sitting on the beach, whatever. And I get a tech support thing. Hey, what's going on with your site? I'm trying to put my credit card in and none of them are working. What do you think happened, Mike?
Yeah, it got shut down by Amazon.
Square shut my ass down. Yep. Square shut me down. And I'm like, wow, this sucks. In addition to shutting me down, they are going to freeze all the money they've collected over the last week while I was on vacation. So the money I thought I was making, I don't actually get. They're going to hold it until August.
Wow.
So I brought my computer with me, ran up to the hotel room, turned off the credit card processing. This was Monday last week. Okay. And just said, fuck it. I'm just going to leave Amazon and PayPal wired up to the thing and just forget credit cards for now. Now, when I looked at our sales last week, they really didn't go down very much. So what I'm struggling with is, how hard should I chase putting credit cards back on the site? Or is PayPal and Amazon enough? What do you think, Mike?
So are they going, like when they're clicking the PayPal or Amazon, are they going to like another site, like the PayPal and Amazon site, or is it still on your site?
They leave the site.
Okay.
They go to their site and return.
I thought you originally said that did lower conversions, having like PayPal.
Yeah, it did horribly. And the reason is I had a buy button.
Yeah.
And then the buy button would take them right to PayPal.
Uh-huh.
And then I made one tiny change. I made a payment page which just said, here's what you're going to be billed.
Uh-huh.
And it would normally have where you would put your credit card in.
Yeah.
But instead, it just has a PayPal button.
Okay.
So it's kind of the same, but it's not the same.
Interesting.
And that one change, I think, gave people more clarity, and they kind of knew what was going to happen when they hit that button. And I think that fixed the problem to a point.
Okay.
To a point.
I like it.
So I am still torn on how hard I should be chasing to get credit cards back on there. I'm completely screwed with my renewals no matter what. I'm never getting that money back. Wow. So I have to wait for people to come sign into the site, tell them I don't have their payment information, recollect it, and bill them. I did some quick math on that just to give some context. If 100 people signed up last year and I try to rebill them automatically this year, I'll get about 45 out of the 100. Mm-hmm. If I can't rebill them and I got to rely on them to come back to my site and still be using the product a year later, that number goes down to about 30%. So that's what we're looking at. So I think we got a gap there of 45% rebills versus 30. I'm just going to have to eat that money. It's just gone. There's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
So that's the predicament I'm in. It's my world right now. It sucks that I feel like I can't do marketing and grow the business. But what I can do is work on the payment stuff right now and get that monster off my back.
Right. But you said it didn't lower conversions at all anymore. Like the conversions aren't
If it did lower it, it wasn't major. It wasn't like we went from 20 sales a week to 5. It was like we went from 21 sales a week to 19. It's barely noticeable.
Right.
So what I'll do, I'll keep an eye on it this week. I can't put credit card processing back on the site anyways.
Right.
Because I can't get approved. I'm applying to places. I think regardless, if people are signing into the site and I can't collect money from them, I got to collect it when they sign in. So I'm going to, regardless, build something like, hey, if you're using the app and you bought it 2 years ago and you haven't paid me since, you're going to have to pay through PayPal or Amazon. You're not using it for free. So I got some people that fell through the cracks. I'm going to do that this week and keep pursuing credit card stuff. Next week, we'll talk more about how that's going and what I should do next.
Nice.
Yeah.
Pretty focused. Getting it done.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it for me, Mike.
That sounds pretty good. Then what's your next piece after that? Like, then back to, I know we're doing SEO. We're doing links, so that's improving.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other channel you're going to test out next or anything? Or I know you're talking about putting on the App Store.
Yeah.
Things like that. That's all on hold. So you don't
Play Store. I want to get it listed on the iTunes Store.
Okay.
You know, I'm not really 100% sure because this credit card issue's been going on for over a month now, and it's just completely derailed everything. It's just like a torpedo into the side of your business.
Yeah.
Almost fatal. I feel like I'm one email away from being out of business. If PayPal just says, go screw yourself, your account's done. Like, how am I going to collect money? I'm done.
You're going to have to go back to snail mail.
Boy, yeah, I bet that'll work. Just write out your credit card and mail it to me.
Yes.
People did it. All right, it's probably a good place to wrap it up, huh?
Yep, we'll see how it evolves. So yeah, make sure everyone viewing, stays tuned. And any other comments or questions or things to add, just leave them in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe, and then check back weekly. And we're gonna keep delivering.
We will be here, right, Mike?
What?
We will be here.
Yes, we'll be here for the long term.
That's for me and you, so we'll be here for at least 150 episodes or so.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
My son turned 11 today.
Oh, nice.
Guess
up
what
there.
Phone.
Happy birthday to him.
Phone. Yeah, he wants a phone. So we're going to go activate a phone for him and take him out to dinner and have a good birthday. That's what I'm doing.
Nice. That sounds sweet. First phone. I like it.
At 11, right?
Yeah. You got to love phones these days. They got everything. Internet, apps.
I'll tell you, it's better than a driver's license for kids. They don't want a driver's license. They want a phone, man. That's what they want.
Yeah.
In the grid then, right?
Yeah. And just for like YouTube videos and YouTube live videos you can do on your phone now and stuff. Like, yeah.
Oh, it's easy. Yeah.
Oh, you can basically build a business. Same with like Instagram stuff. Like, you can just do it from your phone and stuff.
I completely agree. Completely agree.
Crazy. Moving into a new world. That's awesome though. Have fun. Enjoy.
All right. We'll talk next week.
Sounds good. See you then. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.